Good afternoon. How's everyone doing this afternoon? Well, evening for some of you in the UK. There's a few of you in the UK from the UK there. Excuse my voice, a little rough. Yeah, from the UK, the viewers from the UK. Welcome. Figured I'd come on here for a little bit this afternoon. It's really unbearable outside today. It's I think 41 with the humidity. They're saying that all this week is going to be in the 40s. In the 40s, given the humidity, which is just like stagnant, very stagnant. And it doesn't help with the wildfires. And I'm looking for a really good. I don't know where I put my really good interactive map. Hold on, let me just pull it up here. I think I've got it. Here we go. Let's see here. The wildfires have been creating a lot of distress across Canada and into central U.S., especially in the Maritimes, in New Brunswick, and so on and so on. It is just it's bad. In fact, I know what New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and even Newfoundland. For those of you who are in Canada, know obviously they've got fire bans. I mean, people can't go hiking because of fear of being getting trapped and all that kind of stuff. I mean, anything could set these things off right now. It's a tinderbox with how dry many parts of Canada are going through not a severe drought, but a moderate drought, medium drought, and some very mild in areas. But even so, it doesn't take much to start a fire. Now, I mean, quite literally, everything is just bone dry. There hasn't been much rain, moisture over the past month, couple months, and it's just completely insane. So, and today, it's just another day, right? It's another day. Welcome to the end of the world, folks. The end of the world. Yeah, the end of the world. It's it's seemingly like that. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on, it's just incredibly insane. And I'm not going to get into the political aspects, other than um, hold on, I'm just reading some text here. Hold on. Yeah, no, I'm just water bans too. Obviously, are an issue. So I mean, you can't even water your lawn, your vegetable, your gardens, whatever. It's just how bad it is. But if you're in an area that is, you know, experiencing some wildfires close to it, there's going to be people, watering their areas and dampening them, moisturing them down, and hopefully, if the fires were to come close. But let me tell you, they the moisture dries up real quick. You need a lot. You need a lot of rain. I mean, quite literally, it needs to pour for quite a while to have some sort of effect. And then you have to worry about the winds. The winds are, can carry these fires into areas, talking about jumping roads and so on, and creating a new batch of area where it's on fire. So I mean, it's very iffy right now. It is, and it's quite scary, to be honest. It's very scary, especially when it gets close. I mean, there were some fires not too long ago close to where I'm at, and quite literally, the thing that set them on fire, set that those fires, was a train. The sparking from the train set bush on fire, and it just literally all the way along the tracks for quite a distance. And if you don't tend to that quickly enough, it can wreak a lot of havoc. So, and that's what's happening. Hey, Budacris, how are you? And that's what's happening in these these wildfires. It doesn't take much. I mean, you might have a little bit of a storm, lightning strike. Poof, it's still dry, even when it's raining. It's enough to set anything on fire up there. And if it hits an area that is not used, it's very, very sparse, it's, dense and not many people are in that area, it may take a while before it's tended to, before anyone notices other than, wow, smoke, you know, it's scary. It is. And this is the reality of things. I mean, it's been the reality of things for a while. Wildfires. I mean, we've had wildfire seasons, you know, for a long time now, but they're just getting more intense, extremely intense. And I'm not going to sit there and cry. Climate change. Yeah, sure, the climate is changing, but for the most part, I'm a sound believer that a lot of it is due to a lot of what's going on with the evolution of the earth itself, right? The evolution of the earth itself. Hey, Stephen, how are you? We've only been going through collecting data on weather for what, 125 years? 125 years, something like that. Yes, there are some sort of historical events that we've been able to sort of draw from, but I mean, we really don't know what is really going on with the Earth itself. We don't know that perhaps there could be a mini ice age again. We don't know. We again we can draw experience from the past through carbon dating and so on and so on. But I mean, that's about it. Uh, you know, our time here on this earth is only like a dot in its history. So much has gone on, and we still know so little about what's really going on here on the earth. We really do. We don't know. I mean, look at the oceans. We know less about the oceans than we do our own galaxy. So, I mean, what do we really know, to be honest? We're still learning. We're still trying to understand. And, is the earth going through a cycle? The axis is moving, shifting, all sorts of theoretical sort of, oh, well, look at this is what's happening. And it's all caused by man. Yeah, we might be aiding it, obviously. I shouldn't say might. We are. I mean, we have been neglecting the way that we've been, sort of uh, not respecting our environment. I mean, that's a given. I mean, we do a lot of stuff, and we have done a lot of stuff, especially through the industrial age, that has affected the environment. Yes, there's absolutely no doubt about that. Are we actually speeding it up? Quite possibly. But I do believe it's a cycle that, happens here that we don't fully understand yet. We don't. Um, but that's not to say, well, you go out and, dump your garbage here, dump your garbage there, who cares, blah, 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 whatever. But don't force me to buy an electric vehicle because you want to make more money from that segment. Seriously? No. Hey, Safari, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. So, I mean, Are we really affecting or speeding up the process? We may, and again, we don't know. But the thing is, by how much? By how much? If that's the case, how much? I mean, sure, they put these dates and times in place. Oh well, we need to have this, mandate in by 2035, so we can, stop the heating up the earth. Who are they trying to kid? Honestly, who are they trying to kid about trying to um, stopping the earth from heating up? Can we really? Really? I don't think there's anything that we could possibly do to stop it from heating up, because I quite honestly think, again, it's a natural cycle that we just happen to be living through right now. And one that, again, we don't know what'll happen. We can assume. Science can tell us certain things, but it can't tell us everything, like a lot of things in life. The paranormal, in fact, the paranormal, right? Including the paranormal. But anyways, I don't want to talk about that. Enough's enough. Hold on. But the current map, I'll give you a look at the current map. Hold on. What are the layers? Let's get the layers going here. Layers. Uh, add. Let's look at these layers. Hold on. Add the map. Okay. So we're adding. Okay, these are hot spots. Okay, so let's see. Put it in there. Okay, we get this. All right, let's share this guy. It's crazy. Where are we? So there you go. Let me just get this out of the way here. Okay, for some reason didn't. Let's go up here. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. So there you go. I mean, they're basically the yellow, the orange, brown, and all that. So quite literally, the darker it gets is where the actual hot spots for the smoke, right? Where the smoke is. Let's go in. Let's go in. Okay, so this is like, and what was it? So what you're seeing here for the most part is you're seeing some of the fires in the mid USA, sort of attributing to some of the ones on the prairie. The prairies are on fire, guys. They're on fire, as you can see. Like, you look at the amount. The red dots are the thermal areas. That's where a lot of the fires are. And as you can see, it's just insane, and it has been for a while. So, quite literally, today it's not bad here, which is down. Let's see, right in this area here. As you can see, there's not really a lot going on. Although there's a few hot spots going down here. I know some fire activity in that. But then you got some bad ones in New Brunswick, right here. And in fact, you have some firefighters from Maine who have come up to Canada to New Brunswick to help out with those fires. But it's just insane. It's just insane how it's going. It's just, in fact, I heard there was talk about some Republican senators wanting them to look into you know the Canadian fires. Really? So we can stop them on a dime, right? Because they're bitching because the smoke is going down there and affecting them. It's an environmental thing. You can't control that. A border does not stop fucking smoke. I mean, the same thing happens when they have their problems with their wildfires. We have to endure the smoke up here as well. It all depends, especially on the jet stream. How it, how that smoke and where it goes and so on and so on. But well, we're going to look into seeing if we can maybe possibly, you know, put somebody in the corner or have them in a timeout because the Canadian wildfire smoke is crossing the border. Yeah. So there you go. That's the extent of it today, anyways. And as you can see in the prairies, it's just absolutely Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Northern Ontario, right? And then again down into the mid U.S., right? So in Dakota, Montana, bits of Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota. It's wow, right into Wisconsin and up. But like I said, you've got some thermal activity, down there that's attributing to the smoke. It's just adding to it, right? As you can see, and Las Vegas, or sorry, Nevada has always has problems as well. As you can see, they got some in California. California is probably really dry. It's normally very dry. It has been very dry for a while, quite a while actually. But yeah, there you go. Anyways, I'll open this up. Enough of me ranting about the wildfires, but it's just insane. It really is. It's very insane. Uh, Pin it. So there you go. There's the wildfire scenario for today. So how's everybody doing, man? I mean, everybody good? How are things over there in the UK? Everything good over there? You guys going through a heat wave as well? I know, like I said, all this week we're talking about in the 40s, 40 degrees. That's of course including the humidity, right? Uh, well, yeah, it does, but again, right now it's not as intense, but the intensity has really gotten quite more over the years, Tim. And that's what I was saying with us. I mean, like we have fire season in some parts all year round, but now obviously the next few months is technically our fire season. And over the last couple years, the last few 2 to 5 years, the intensity has really ramped up with those wildfires. And again, if anybody knows anything about Northern Ontario or Northern Canada, it's quite literally a massive forest, boreal forest. It's massive. And when things get hot, and very dry as they are. I mean, we're talking about drought scenario dry. It's 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 like a desert, man. It's insane. It's like a desert. It's insane. It's like the polar axis has shifted, and now we're getting, weather that is quite literally like, in the tropics. Our oceans and our lakes will start to develop beaches and we won't have to go south anymore. It's the way it seems. It's crazy. It is really crazy. But that's what I mean. Jimmy, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. Always good to see you. Hope you're well. But that's what I mean. I mean, we really just don't understand what's going on. And I mean, who's to say that just going to totally flip? And anything south of the equator will cool down and have seasons like up here, right? And anything north of the equator starts to heat up. I mean, it's already insane. Like I said, it's today with the humidity, it's 41 degrees Celsius. I mean, what is that? 100 Fahrenheit? 100 something like that? Let's see. 105. It's currently 105 Fahrenheit here. 105 Fahrenheit. And I know you guys, a lot of you guys in the southern states know how that feels. 105. And that's what I mean. But here it's humid. The humidity literally jacks up the temperature. So quite literally, if it was just straight heat and no humidity, it would be 33 degrees Celsius, which is 90, which is bearable, quite bearable. But because the humidity always jacks it up, well, it doesn't always, but this week jacks it up between 10 and 15 degrees. It's insane. It's literally insane, you know? So, anyways, that's the gist of the wonderful weather that we're having here. And although they are calling for rain tomorrow and Wednesday. How much? Probably not. I can't see a lot. Let's see. I don't think it's even going to put a dent. Okay, see here. Tuesday. Now it's only Tuesday they're calling for rain. During the day, 40%. During the evening, 70%. So there quite could be, or sorry, there could quite be a nice isolated thunderstorms, which means we probably won't get much. If anything, what that will do will jack up the humidity even more afterwards. It'll cool down during the rain, but then it's just going to go, you know, and oh, now they're saying Sunday a little bit. But I mean, there's absolutely no way to sustain this kind of environment. It's like the fiery pit of hell right now. The fiery pit of of hell. That's what it is. The fiery pit of hell. Stephen, yes, the beer looks yummy. It is. It's actually from the east coast of Nova Scotia. For those who are interested, wanting to know what it is, there you go. I know, exciting. Okay, so get that. So I just I had the every year I do I'm a part of yeah, exactly, Burnside. The irony is right. Thus, you see the smoke. Do you see the smoke? The fiery smoke. Um the every time this year annually a place called the Spruce Lane Farmhouse. They have their annual ghost walks this time of the year, and I'm usually a part of it because we've been doing research there since 2009 and have found some really cool stuff there over the years. And what they do is they've incorporated some of the audio, some of the audio that we've captured over the years as a part of their walks. Um, and a few of them, it's like a couple hours long, two, two, 2.5 hours long. And, the walks are about 15, 20 minutes between each other. And this year I was actually really surprised. This year it was it was the groups were very large because I don't really associate ghost walks with, early August. In fact, I've talked to them about that and, hey, maybe you should shift it later in the year, but they can't, unfortunately, because they have other commitments and a lot of them are on contract. So, this is the perfect time for them, and which is fine. I mean, it turns out to be a nice evening. The bugs eat the crap out of you. But I mean, you know what? It's a you know what? I look at it as the gateway to the fall because right now I'm literally getting into the mood in the autumn mode. Steve, how are you, man? How are you? Good to see you, mate. I quite literally am in that mode now. I usually do after these ghost walks. I do coming up to the ghost walks. I just get into that mode. The fall for me, I don't care how hot it is right now. You know, I just it just it kicks in. It kicks in. You know, it kicks in, and I look forward to the fall. And I start early. I start early with the way I look at things, which is quite fine by me. To me, my fall starts in late August. Tim, you having problems there? Anyway, so they carried out their annual ghost walks this past weekend, Friday and Saturday evenings, and they're getting a little bit more popular. I mean, obviously, they've been doing this since 2009, but um, I'm finding it was gaining momentum, and then obviously, COVID, the vid, kind of blew that up on like everything else. They were doing virtual tours, which I'm sorry sucks. It just sucks. But anyways, that they've gotten back into mode. I think this is the third year since they've been back into mode. And this year, both nights, I was just wow. I was just amazed at how many people were coming out for each of the walks. The groups were much larger this year, much larger than they've ever been. And it's always nice to see people who are interested in seeing the history of the an old farmhouse, really. I mean, What's so special about this farmhouse? Well, you know what? They have it set up within this provincial park, which is the adjacent of the equivalent of a state park in the U.S. Have it set up to give you an idea of what it was like to live on one of these farms during the early 1900s. The house itself was built in 1899, and yeah, it's like fully furnished in period. Of course, I don't think there's only certain things within the house that are from the house originally. Just, but for the most part, objects have been brought in from various other locations and places, and who knows, antique markets. I don't know, but whatever. There are three barns, an old water mill, water windmill, and it's just it's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful home. I mean I would buy it. God, nice and peaceful at night. Although you do get a lot of the noise pollution from the highway, which is not too far in the distance there. But once again, like I said, it was really, really nice to see more and more people coming out, kids, and asking the questions, about what our stuff that we've found over the years, and about the house, and about the paranormal in general, and people are just so inquisitive, and they always have been. But I mean, the questions are getting more and more um, in depth, if you will. I thought, oh, although I did have a kid ask me, "Have you ever seen Casper the Ghost before?" Casper the Ghost, yeah, many times. But it was good to have that done, and usually that is the mark setting when we go in for another investigation of the house, which is coming up very soon. Because like I said, it's an ongoing research project that's been going since 2009, and many of you know me. I take my time with a lot of these locations because you don't fully understand a location with only one or two visits. You really don't. You haven't got a clue what's going on, if anything at all. And let me tell you, things are happening at this house because I wouldn't be going back year after year if that wasn't the case. You know, for some of you, for some of you who have probably never, hold on, let's see. I'll play some stuff for you from this house. Oh, where are we? Actually, what I'll do is I'll play the vid. Let me load the vid up here. I find the vids more. Where are we? Okay, where are we? Okay, where did I put it? Not there. Let me just. Is this the proper one? Let me just make sure this is the proper one. So here I mean, some of you, many of you have seen this already. So, but for those of you who have not seen this before, this is an example of what we've captured over the years. There, right? Just load it up here. Where are we? I had it, then it took off. Well, there you go. Like, I mean, that's just an example. Steve, we didn't do any ghost hunt. There were just ghost walks for the people. The general public can come in and see the house and hear the stories and hear some of the footage or findings that we've had over the years. We're actually going in for an actual investigation. My God, what's the date? Actually, this weekend, I think. Yeah, this weekend actually. We're going in this weekend to carry on, and actually, we got some new stuff that we're going to be carrying out during this one, and we're going to center. And I'm just going to absolutely try to recreate something actually that happened to me. God, almost 15 years ago. Never thought about recreating it. Trying to, but we'll be doing some experimentation there this time around, and trying to figure out some other stuff like horses. People often um, ask the people who work there about horses at times when there's no horses there at all in the stables. They don't keep the horses in the stable year round. They only bring them in for about a month or so. And people have seen horses in the stables, in the stable area when there's no horses. So I mean that is another thing we're going to look into, obviously. And again, it's ongoing research to try to understand and quite literally try to explain what's going on. I mean, it's hard. It's a paranormal, right? It's a paranormal, right? So there we go. There we go. All right. So I'll go for a little while. I mean, if anybody wants to click the link, come on up. By all means, come on up. Uh, I'll take a look at that in a bit, Steve, for sure. That's cool. Actually, I'm looking at it now. That's neat. That is really cool. The Wow, that is really cool. That is amazing, to be honest. 60 years. Wow. That's actually really cool. That is really cool. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. Dazzy, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, it's always neat when these anniversaries come up with these major events that have happened over the years. Um, and you know what? Actually, Steve, I need to talk to you about scheduling John in the new season. So yourself, John, and maybe Matt, we'll have to do a show uh, when the new season starts up. We'll have to plan that out. So that'd be good to have you back on, and of course, John and Matt talking about the his museum of sorts, right? I mean, the the amount of time and effort he's put into collecting data is just incredible. Like watching what you guys have done with him. Like, I mean, like the interviews and stuff like that, and the walkthroughs, and very interesting, very intriguing, and yeah, I look forward to having him on and chatting with him for sure. Let's see here. What's this here? Get that there. Yeah, so that is really, really cool. Um, Edmund, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, it is evening there. I guess. Yeah, it's evening. It's 6:18, something like that. 6:18 UK time. Yeah, so we're going in this weekend, I believe. Yeah, this weekend we're going to carry out some experiments and so on and so on, and try to further the research in that place. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, it's not like it's in your face what's happened over the years. It's subtle, but in a good way. There's the subtleties I find are more intriguing because they tell you more. I think they tell you more. They give you more, a larger piece of a larger puzzle. And for the most part, over the years, it's always been seemingly children. B, how are you? Good to see you. Seemingly children in there. And it's kind of weird. I mean, now you're getting reports. People are saying that they're seeing a child standing at one of the windows in the side of the building, the house. Again, I don't know how to take that. I mean, that's intriguing if it's true. I mean, if they really did see something, then great. But I mean, was it just pareidolia? I don't know. But the thing is, there's no doubt there's seemingly some presence of children there. Like I said, I had my experience years ago there that has not to mention the amount of audio that we've collected out of there. It's just incredible. It's just overwhelmingly um, centered on children, with the odd exception of an adult male who we seem to think was the first male in the house who owned the house first, Henry Brecken. And the Breckens had a lot of history in that area. They owned a lot of property in and around that where that Spruce Lane farmhouse is now. So, I mean, the land itself Is it cursed? No, I wouldn't say it's cursed. I don't think anything. There's nothing malevolent going on. Nothing malevolent going on. Never. Although there was one time when the curator of the museum went in one morning to find that the dining room table was flipped upside down when he walked in. And upon talking to the staff, they don't understand why. Because nobody can get into that house unless they break into the house because it's locked up. And he was in there the night before and it was not like that. So I mean, you have lots of things. That's probably, if you can call that malevolent, a pissed off ghost or whatever, however you want to view it. I don't know. That's the only time down that route that might seems aggressive. Aggressive, but not malevolent. And like I said, it's been mostly subtleties. Children laughing and playing and saying things that we're picking up. And like I said, again, the male, the male, who we seem to think the male voice seems to be that of Henry Brecken, who had a lung disease, pulmonary or cancer or whatever. He had a bout that made him cough. And we're getting this, like, here, I'll play one for you. I'll play a couple for you. But I mean, it's just like, wow, okay. Are we actually capturing? Let me just track it down here. Got so many. And I'm bad at organize. Okay. No, it's not there. Where are we? Okay, here we go. Here's one. Okay, so I'm gonna play. I'll play this for you. And again, is it? Is it? Could it possibly be? Could it possibly be Henry Brecken? Who knows? Here we go. Here we go.
That's the beauty of Victoria. It doesn't have to go together.
Yeah, I get.
So you hear us talking in the background, right? That's us in the dining room area. Where that recording and where that coughing, clearing of the throat is in the parlor room, which is across the main foyer in the other side of the building. But because the recorders pick up everything, these pick up everything. But anyways, there was nobody there with that recorder in that room. Nobody. We were all together sitting down in the dining room. And what you heard after that was sort of like a door banging or cupboard banging or something banging. That is another phenomenon that happens in that house that we can't explain. I have so many recordings on so many occasions there of that banging in different areas of the house. It just doesn't make any sense. I'll play it again.
That one's the only one I didn't hear.
That was more upstairs. It wasn't like the one we were hearing here. No.
That's the beauty of Victoria. It doesn't have to go together.
Yeah, I get.
So you clearly hear it, right? You clearly hear it. Sounds good, Steve. Yeah, just let me know, and we'll get something hooked up. The season starts on the 7th, which is Sunday, September 7th. Henry needs to lay off. Yeah, he was a heavy smoker, by the way, Tim. That's yeah, he was a heavy smoker. So yeah, that's why we kind of think the link is there. We kind of think the link's there, but I mean, who knows, right? It could be anything. But we know damn well there was nobody in the house, nobody except for us. Now let's see. Do I have another one handy? So here again, here's another example of the door again. Listen, that cracking you're hearing walking on the wood floor there. The and as you can hear that in the distance. Where is it coming from? We don't know where that banging is coming from or what it is. We've tried so many times to recreate that bang. We can't. We can't. It's just crazy. Okay, here's another. I think this is another Henry cough. I'm not sure. So here's Henry coughing again. This is another incident where Henry is coughing, right? And this is taken at a different occasion. And again, we're not hearing this. We're not those bangs, the coughing. There is times when people do hear the bang, but the coughing we're not hearing. It's not present real time. So guess is as good as mine. Like I said, this is the reason why. I mean, there's been. Let me just see. Which one's this one? Let's see. I've got so many from there. And this one you can hear us talking, and then what sounds like you know laughter, laughter among us, but closer to the recorder. It's none of us laughing. It's odd. You hear that? Is that not eerie? That is eerie. Like, if you don't have a headset in, put your headsets on and listen to it. I'm telling you, this is one of the more eerier EVPs collected there over the years. Yeah, it's just insane. It's insane. Andrew needs to lay off those smoke 60 a day smokers coffee. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you got to think too. I mean, Henry Bracken was, up until I think it was the 1920s or 30s in that house, 50s actually. So I mean, yeah. But there you go. You get a sense. I mean, I could play so many. There's so many. I got to dig them out. I don't know. What's this one? So again, here is another sample of the banging. This is another sample of the banging, right? Hold on, let me just. Okay. Because there's something in this area. Knowing that the camera picked something up, what was it? See, because there's something in this area. I can't hear it. Knowing that the I'm not reacting to it. Was it? Because there's something in this area. Knowing that the camera picked something up. I'm not reacting to it. I mean, you kind of figure I would react to it, but I'm not reacting to it. What's this here? Okay, this one. Okay, I'm just going through some of the. Again, I'm just familiarizing myself with some of these again. Okay, so that. Okay, where are we? There's so many of them. I'm just seeing that the better ones. There's a lot that. No, I don't. Okay, get this. Nope. Child singing. Here's some. So. Oh wait, hold on. Where'd you go? Where do we go? Where are you? Where are you? I gotta find it again. Here it is. Here. So this one is when I was in by myself in the front parlor room, and back then they used to have the funerals at home. the front parlor room because they didn't have the money to, obviously outsource it to a funeral home and so on and so on. But whatever. So I'm in this front parlor room, sitting down, doing an EVP session by myself. You hear people in the background in other rooms, whatever, because like I said, sound carries in that very, very well. But this one here was when I was sitting down and doing the session, and when I'm as psychic dumb as it comes. So I'll never claim to be psychic, but I just had this overwhelming feeling that there was children in the room there with me, children. So I started asking questions that children could relate to. Playing hide and go seek. You're not supposed to be here. Back then the children weren't allowed in the parlor room. It was adults only. You better go back to your room. You're gonna get in trouble. You should be in bed. Just questions, trying to spark some, something up in terms of EVPs. And then as I carried on, and this is in the middle of August. It is like literally quite hot out. I mean, it was sweltering inside because all the windows are closed. They never open the windows. Um, and it was hot. It was very hot in there. And all of a sudden, I feel my shirt like this just goes like this, tugged like that. It still gives me chills, but I'm like, okay, what exactly is that? I'm thinking logically, okay, can't be the wind. There's no wind here, and it's literally you very decisive. You can feel the tug at my shirt like that. I'm like, oof, okay. So I call it, get the mic guys, check the camera, check the because we had some CCD closed circuit cameras going on, and I'm going to review the audio and so on and so on. Mark this because my shirt was just tugged, or it felt like it was tugged. So I've looked. We looked on the camera, and you could see, kind of like a little on the camera. It was hard to make out because it was in night vision, but you can, kind of. And then I'm looking at the mark time for the audio and listening to the audio. And this is what happened. This is what you can hear exactly just slightly seconds after my shirt being tugged. This is what you heard, or what I heard. Or I didn't hear. But when I reviewed it, heard it.
Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're
And
coming down.
I'm just marking somebody talking in the background.
Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars.
I'm not
They're
reacting to
coming down.
what you're hearing there. What do you guys hear? What do you hear?
Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're coming
What do
down.
you hear? What do you hear?
Yeah, it's talking. That's
Come on, there's
Mars.
11 of you. Come on.
They're coming down.
What do you hear?
Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're coming down. Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're coming down. Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're coming down. Yeah, it's talking. That's
What do you hear? Come on, nobody hears anything?
They're
What do you
coming
hear?
down.
There's something there. It still gives me chills because I remember
Yeah, it's
going
talking.
through this.
That's Mars. They're coming down. Yeah, it's talking. That's Mars. They're
Ah,
coming down. Yeah, it's talking. That's
nobody hears anything. Am I
They're coming
hearing
down.
things? All
Yeah,
right.
it's talking. Yes.
So there you go. I will be right back. I am going to refill. No, it doesn't. I mean, if you're listening on your headset, you might hear it, but I will be right back, guys. Thanks, Tim. Although my fingers got in the way here.
Yeah.
So what were these in use up till?
These tunnels here, they really started using them around like the turn of the century, like 19. By that point, all the cannons they had here were pretty much useless against modern warships. So they kind of just stopped using it. They used it during the First World War, upper battery. They put some quick fire, like modern pieces of artillery, 4.7-inch quick fire guns. They used those throughout the First World War, and they got rid of them. And then during World War II, they kind of just had anti-aircraft guns here. That was all that was really here during the Second World War. So these tunnels, by like 1900, they're kind of like not being used anymore.
Okay.
This one here's the powder magazine. So historically, you would have wood beams that kind of come out of the ceiling that would be shut. And all the powder was stored in barrels, and they would stack barrels 50 up to the ceiling. Each barrel had 100 pounds of powder in it. And they would take all the powder and shells from this room, and they would use like a rail system that we'll see in a little bit. And they would use it to move to like these like hand operated elevators to hoist up and down from the upper battery to the lower. And that was just because like each shell.
Well, yeah, I mean, and rightfully so. This is a British fort.
So carrying that around was not feasible. So they had
This is a British fort. This is built by the Brits
also
in the late 70, originally in the late 1700s, modified in the 1800s.
only source of light we would have
Um,
the above the door there.
when fending off the French in the beginning, and then the Americans during the
There was no candles
War of 1812.
allowed in this room, just to prevent any like accidents or sparks going off and blowing out the wings. Does anybody have any questions about the powder magazine?
Nice and cool though.
All right, we can head this way.
Yeah, I think the English were using this up until about, like you said, the early 1900s. Then Canada took over, and obviously this was never actually ever attacked. It never had to defend itself. But there was appeared during World War II, I believe, when the German subs made their way over
Here's kind of like what's left
to
of
the
that
Nova
rail system
Scotian
that was totally broken. So they
Halifax
just move
Bay Harbor,
shells of powder on little carts, and then like in this room
and they were
here,
waiting for
this
them.
is like where one of
Obviously,
those little elevators would have been at the end. So they're
took
hand operated.
took some damn some prisoners.
But this one just
Camp.
goes up this elevator.
Hold on a sec.
As we continue on, you can kind of look up at this hole in the roof here and get like an idea of how far underground we are right now. So this room that we're in right now is called a caponier. So this is like a defensive position within the dry ditch of the fort. So there's 5 of these all around the dry ditch, and they're all covering angles so that there's no blind spots in the defensive ditch. So if this fort was ever attacked, which it was not, the idea was that there'd be 10 to 12 soldiers with either rifles or muskets in each caponier. And the enemy, when they attacked, they would have to land at the beach, run up towards the fort, and then they would either have to jump down themselves or they might even fall and not notice that the ditch was here. They'd be in the ditch. Soldiers in here would then aim their rifles or muskets through these slits here in the wall, which are called loopholes, and fire on them. And once the enemy soldiers were in the ditch, there was nowhere where they could hide. The caponiers had perfect coverage of the entire ditch. No blind spots.
Many of them were taken to Camp 30. Camp 30 in Bowmanville, Ontario. A lot of the Nazi prisoners that were captured were over here. And let me bring it up. I have to get out there myself because it still exists. Let's see where it is. Let's see. So you said this fort was never attacked?
Nope. The actual whole city was never attacked at any point. They had tons of fortifications. They had this fort here on Bruce Island, the Citadel, which is up on the hill by the city. There was like batteries in Point Pleasant Park, York Redoubt, McNabb's Island, tons of fortifications, and none of them ever saw any action.
Okay, what I'll do, I'll play you. I'll give you a portion
the
of this.
possibility of a tunnel between here and the Citadel.
Yeah, no, I do get that question, and the answer I'm going to give
Leave it to me, right?
I can't say for 100% certainty.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
there
no,
isn't.
no vandalism, which is
However,
cool
I've
about
worked
this.
here and there for a number of years. I've never seen it, and I wouldn't know where it would be.
Yeah.
But I can't rule out the possibility entirely. I just think it would be pretty difficult back then to dig like under the whole harbor,
Exactly.
up through the city and up through the city. All right.
So there's the cannons.
Here is the lower battery. 8 rooms like this one, kind of stretched.
But you know, it took 11 men to fucking position these cannons because they're so fucking heavy. 11 troops. But here, this is Camp 30. Prisoner of war. Here you go.
What a cool place.
And this is where a lot of the Nazi prisoners were held during World War II here in Canada. It was,
Ops, yeah, that's cool.
it was later used as a school and Ontario Provincial
Let's see if there's
Police
anything
training
cool in there.
ground.
I got my flashlight out here. That looks pretty bare. Wow. Look at that. Ain't that something? This is a pretty hardy place to explore. This is a pretty cool set of buildings, though. In 2013, it was added to the Canada's National Registry of Historic Buildings, saving it from demolition. So if it weren't for that, these buildings wouldn't even be standing right now.
Yep. But as you can see, they've
A
been
lot of people are trying to save this place and preserve it. It's hard trying to turn it into a museum or something, though. That costs a lot of money, and those funds just aren't there. Maybe someday, though. There's even more buildings over there
there's shitloads
on
of
that little
buildings there.
hill.
Here he is now.
Hi, trying to make sense of all this data.
Just get
Fucking commercials. Oh. Get back to the Explorer, but fucking commercials. Yeah, POW. Yeah, there's POW camps everywhere, but this is it's a little bit more rare here in Canada, obviously because of the location.
I don't know how well you can see it from here.
We're being so away from the actual.
It's a
Hey
very
Tom,
big
how are you?
site.
Good to see you, buddy.
Look at this. This little hole leads into the basement.
This guy doesn't want to go inside. I'd be going inside. I'd be checking
Looks
it
like
out.
it leads into the rest of the building too.
Check it out. Go in.
Spooky.
Oh, not spooky. Go in and check it out.
Look at this. A little window. Oh yeah. You can see old studs on the end of the drywall there. The metal studs. Looks like there's some wood ones too. Yeah, there's some wooden studs too. Definitely has the abandoned building mold smell. You gotta love the abandoned building mold smell.
Is it really abandoned? Come on, is it? Come
Reminds
on,
me
I
of
would
all the
not.
other
I
abandoned
would
buildings I've
never
been
have
to.
thought it was abandoned. Hey, Adrian, how are you?
Starting to get pretty dark out. I would have been here earlier, but it seems that the entire province of Ontario is under construction. Took me forever just to get out of Toronto. That's okay.
That's why you take the 407.
It being darker out adds to the spooky atmosphere.
I'll go for another hour.
So
Click
there's
the
the building
link.
we were just walking
Hop
by.
on up. Open discussions.
And there's this building here.
This is known as Camp 30, and
Sorry if it
during World
seems
War
I'm
II
rushing,
was
but
used as a
it's getting
POW
dark out fast.
camp.
Once the sun goes
prison
down, you won't be
for-
able to see
especially for
anything.
German Nazi. No, not
Trying to
Mississauga.
get as
This
much
is
of
a
the exterior
Beamsville.
shots as I can right now.
Still standing today because it's
wow.
been designated a
Looks like somebody
heritage
broke
site,
the door down.
and it needs to be renovated very soon, as you can see, because it's gone through a lot.
Oh yeah, there's definitely mold in there. Whole lot of it. It's the first time I've ever explored anywhere at night.
Oh, he actually went inside.
Not intentional, of course. Just happened to be that way. When your entire country is apparently under construction.
Julie, I didn't even know you were there, but take care.
Looks like there was an arsonist in here. Incredible.
Yeah, a lot of damage.
That's really terrible.
unfortunately.
Really terrible. Ooh, that looks cool though.
It is sad. It really is. I mean, this was used as a training facility for the Ontario Provincial Police. And then they turned it into a school, I believe. It was a school for a
That probably
while,
leads up to the roof.
and now it's just sitting there. It was a paintball's fucking paradise for a while, and now it's just sitting there. It's an urban explorer's paradise. Obviously, I know a lot of
So that
you
was the inside of
urban
that
explorers
building.
would love this and have been there.
That was
Obviously.
pretty cool. As you can see, it is very dark out now, so I have to use the infrared.
Oh my god, he's got infrared.
It's a shame that this place has been torn apart so much with so much graffiti and whatnot, though. Yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
Oh, we got the drone. Get the drone footage going, boy. It's a huge plot of land, though. A lot of building. Oh, come on. Don't stop with the drone footage. I want to see more drone footage.
In the year 1922, this land would be donated to the Canadian government by a horticulturist named John H. Jury. At the time, this land was known as the Darch Farm, but soon construction would begin on the Bowmanville Boys Training School, a special type of school designed specifically for juvenile delinquents. The school would open in 1927, and it would operate smoothly for 14 years, but on the onset of the Second World War, it would be converted into a POW camp. The denizens of the camp were quickly evacuated. The Canadian government gave the Army only half a year to convert it into a POW camp. They hastily put up guard towers, barbed wire fences, and other defenses that would be needed. In October of 1941, Camp 30 would officially open. The camp would be used to hold high-ranking officials of the German military. Life inside Camp 30 was almost luxurious compared to most POW camps, due to its former status as a boys' school that had many amenities that other camps would lack. This included a pool, athletic complexes, a soccer field, and more. These POWs would also work on the Darch Farm. The prisoners were also allowed to leave the camp and go into the nearby town of Bowmanville, as long as they gave their word that they would not attempt to escape. It seemed like Camp 30 would remain peaceful until the end of the war. However, things would change during the Battle of Bowmanville. When Hitler gave the order to shackle Allied prisoners of war, Britain gave the order to shackle German prisoners of war in retaliation. At Camp 30, the guards would ask for 100 volunteers to be shackled, but not a single prisoner stepped up. Instead, they resisted. They would barricade themselves inside of the cafeteria and fight back against the guards with hockey sticks, baseball bats, food trays, and anything else they could find. After 2 days, the Canadian Army would regain control of the camp, and all 125 prisoners would be sent off to different POW camps. In 1942, the Kriegsmarine hatched a plan to break out 4 skilled U-boat commanders from Camp 30. Their plan was to have the prisoners tunnel out of Camp 30, then rendezvous 1,400 kilometers away in New Brunswick, where a U-boat would pick them up.
Fucking New Brunswick.
The message that was sent to the prisoners was intercepted by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, also known as the Mounties. The Mounties, working with Canadian intelligence, hatched a plan. They wanted to capture a U-boat in Canadian waters, so they didn't tip off the prisoners, and they allowed them to make their escape attempt. When the U-boat came to pick up the prisoners in September of 1943, they were greeted by the Canadian Navy, who attempted unsuccessfully to capture them.
One skill that CFOs need to really learn.
Hold on.
In the years since World War II, Camp 30 has become abandoned and fallen into disrepair.
Well, yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
slated to
the
be
distance
demolished,
between
and
look at a
housing
map.
complexes were going to be constructed in its
Bowmanville,
place.
Ontario to New
However,
Brunswick.
in the year 2013, it was added to Canada's National Registry of
Yes,
Historic
almost
Buildings,
like
protecting
it's a
it from the
15-hour
wrecking ball.
drive.
In 2016, the property was sold to the municipality of Clarington, and they announced that they would begin to clean up the site, destroying the buildings that have not received a historical status, and cleaning up the graffiti and installing security cameras.
That never happened.
Despite this declaration, as of the making of this video, no effort has gone forward in cleaning up the site.
And that, folks, is it. Oh, no, it's not. Hold on. Gotta fucking make sure I don't have the music playing. But here's some infrared, sorry, night vision footage of it. This guy's all over the place. Uses, yeah, Matt. Would Matt use the toilet there? Look, Matt, if you're listening or watching, would you use the toilets there? Probably. That, folks, is no longer there anymore. That's in Lake Ontario. All right, enough of that. Anyways, yeah, cool. But that is in place of what we were talking about with the fort in Halifax, Fort George, George's Island. So a lot of the Nazi German POWs were taken to Camp 30, and they were held there. So that in itself is about a 15-hour drive. So they flew them there. They weren't going to drove. Well, you never know. They might have drove them there too. Who the fuck knows? I mean, but if you're driving, it's about a 15-hour drive, give or take maybe 16 hours from Halifax to Bowmanville, give or take. Right. So would they drive them? Probably make them fucking sweat it out, right? Drive. Take forever getting there. We're not going to bring them in luxury and fly them there. Screw that shit, right? Make them sweat. Barry, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you are well. Once again, I'll go for a little bit longer. Click the link. The link is there in the chat. Pop on up. You don't want to hear me ranting and raving about whatever. Let's see. Fort George was the name. Yep. 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 Fort George or George's Island. Exactly, Tom. It was a British creation. I mean, the Brits built it, started building it in the late 1700s. And again, here you go. There you go.
Make the whole battery.
There you
Each
go. There's
room
one of the
pretty much the
cannons.
exact same.
Again,
And just kind
11
of point these
people.
guys here.
11
This guy was
people.
supposed to be
11
10 feet
soldiers
far out.
needed
Kind of break down what
to
that means.
to fucking
10
position those
inch
cannons, man.
refers to the diameter of the bore. So, in other
They're
words, the
massive.
opening
Just
is about 10
massive
inches long. And then
cannons.
parallel stands for rifled muzzle loader. And what that kind of means is the rifle part just means
Yeah,
inside
exactly.
the tube is
Actually,
done
the
with
tunnel
shell
area,
go
though, this
has
area here
spiral
is
grooves that drill all the
actually
way to the
some of the
back.
original
And that makes it so when you fire your shell, it spins it like a football and gives
Some
it
of the
far better
original
aim
parts of it
accuracy and
still there
it was
today.
just going to
But
be
for the
more
most part, yes,
cannons
you're right.
with
Correct,
time. They would
Tom.
shoot really far.
It was
These guns were in use from the
reconstructed in
18,
the
like early
30s.
70s up until like the late 1890s, and then by that point, they were obsolete.
And
They were no longer
housed
in the theater behind.
for later wars.
The 11 man gun. And when they went in to fire them, they actually couldn't be in this room. It was the concussion was too much. It would blow your eardrums out. So they had to go outside to the ditch, and they would fire by taking a wire that would go into the vent of the gun. Which the vent is just the opening that is right here that kind of connects where you're.
So this fort was never actually ever it never ever had to defend itself.
An electrical impulse to heat the wire, which would then set off your powder charge.
But it was originally built to fend off the French, and then later during the 1812 battle with the Americans. Well, yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, mosquitoes aren't the worst. It's actually the black flies, Tom. Black flies were worse. They take chunks out of you.
This here is just a
But
fresh
yes,
water
the
well.
mosquitoes are bad too.
They
But
would
the
use this
black
to
flies are
heat up.
bad.
The guns were made of iron, and they reacted very poorly with like the salty sea spray from the ocean. So you saw the conditions of the guns when we were down there. But they could even start to rust in like 24 hours without cleaning. So they had to clean them every day with fresh water, and this is where they would get it from, as well as like it's about 100 feet deep. It was pretty far down. You can kind of see the bottom of it if you look at the reflection of the light way down there. Half to your right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the black flies are crazy, right, Tom? Yeah, maybe, but I'm telling you, they're much larger than mosquitoes. They take chunks out of you. But there you go. George's Island, which is an interesting place. It was a part of the tour I did. Like, I mean, I wanted to go there. I wanted to go to Oak Island and Shag Harbor. So I was good to go with George's Island, as you can see. Stephen, how are welcome back. How are you? Yeah, it was a great place. It was amazing. I loved it. Um Oak Island, of course, was different. Unfortunately, I couldn't get on Oak Island because it being private. They weren't allowing people on the island because they were shooting. Right, they were shooting. So the History Network was, no, you can't go on there. We're shooting. We pay to be here, so you can't come on. And that goes with the tours too, because they're so fucking paranoid that somebody's going to give away what they don't find. Right? They'll give away in a nutshell the whole fucking season. You know, even though they prop you up. Oh, look what we found, and it's literally nothing. Small find, no treasure. But we're getting closer. This season, we will be closer. It's like that every season. So, and it was really disappointing because I was really looking forward to getting onto Oak Island and filming on Oak Island, but unfortunately, that wasn't to be. I unfortunately didn't have enough time to get down to sorry to I got time to go to Mahomes Bay. Beautiful little town, small little town, very beautiful. Uh, Wanted to go into the one pub that they have shot in Oak Island, but that was closed on a Wednesday. Who the fuck closes their pub on a Wednesday? Who in their right mind closes a pub on a Wednesday? Come on, Wednesday. I could see maybe Monday or Tuesday, but a Wednesday, it's closed. It was closed on a Wednesday. Why? Whatever. And then we didn't have enough time to get down to Shag Harbor. Shag Harbor, I was really looking forward to. And if any of you guys out there know anything about Shag Harbor, that is considered, I guess, one of the more notorious Canadian UFO sort of incidents over the years. And that was about a 2-hour drive down the coast to the bottom, pretty much to the bottom, or sorry, to the southern bottom part of Nova Scotia. So unfortunately, I was unable to make it there. It is exactly, it is legendary, and it's very legendary. And unfortunately, I was unable to get there. Next time, it will be a must. I will definitely be back out there. I absolutely loved Nova Scotia. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Loved Nova Scotia. I'm sure a lot of people from the UK would probably could relate to a place like Nova Scotia or the Maritimes, anywhere in the Maritimes, because it is heavily influenced by the English ancestors that came there to settle. So it's heavily influenced in its background on especially on the coastal towns of the UK. In the harbor, yeah, exactly. But I think, obviously a lot of people from the UK can relate to places like this because of the heavily influenced history, English history of the Maritimes, many parts of the Maritimes. You know, English, Irish, Scottish, and their doors are wide open. You know, you seen the hospitality during when 9/11 went down and all the planes were diverted. You know, and inviting them these people into their homes because they had nowhere to go. I mean, not everybody, obviously, but some people invited total strangers into their homes because they had nowhere to go because they didn't know how long they would have to stay there until they're able to fly home, especially in Newfoundland. You know, so again, that hospitality is sort of a an aspect that has been brought over from the UK and has survived over the years, especially in the Maritimes here. If you're going to go to an area that is still heavily influenced by English heritage, it's the Maritimes. Places like, Nova Scotia, uh, PEI, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. New Brunswick to a point, but New Brunswick is quite heavily influenced by the French aspects of our history. And there's that clash. That clash between the English and the French. It's a constant clash. And since Canada's been Canada, or even before that, it's been a clash. I mean, it's the reason why Quebec is fighting to keep itself defined, right? It's fighting to keep itself defined of its French history and heritage. I mean, if you're to go anywhere in Canada and get a slice of European lifestyle, there's nowhere better than parts of Quebec City and Montreal, old Montreal, to get that. I mean, obviously there is a island just off the coast of Newfoundland that is still still run. It's believe it or not, it's a part of the European Union. It's French. And if you're Canadian, you have to have a passport to get there because it's a part of the European Union. So therefore, there is a checkpoint, not a checkpoint, but a border. They use the euro, and quite quite literally, when you go there, it is steep in French, you know, history. Like, yeah, exactly, Tom. It's like that here too. It really is sad, isn't it? It's sad, isn't it? Very sad. Brunswick stew is a great dinner. I don't think I've ever had Brunswick stew. What the fuck is Brunswick stew? Let's see. Now you have me wondering, Steve. Steven. Brun. Okay, so Brunswick stew is a tomato based stew generally involving local beans, vegetables, originally small game meat, squirrel, rabbit. Today, often chicken. The exact origin of the stew is disputed. The states Virginia and Georgia both claim its birth, with Brunswick County in Virginia and the Brunswick city of Brunswick in Georgia claiming development. Wow. And so earlier forms in northern Germany. I mean, this is like anywhere in the world. A Brunswick stew could be quite literally anywhere in the world with the different variations of it. So I would probably hesitate to say, look at the origins suck. You know what, Tom? Montreal is not so French, to be honest. Quebec City is more French. A small town in Quebec is even more French. I find in Montreal now a lot of people speak English. A lot. Uh, I find when you go to smaller places in Quebec, maybe some places in Quebec City, if you speak English, they automatically turn their nose. Ah, English, fuck you. You know, I hate to say it, but it's true. But you know what? When people come to Ontario and they speak French, they kind of get the same nod, and it's like seriously, throw it out the fucking window. Who fucking cares? Who cares? Who really does care? I mean, I understand, and Quebec for years has had this separatism attitude, and many of the, especially the smaller, you know, French, all French speaking areas of Quebec. I understand. I understand you want to preserve that, but it's like Canada. Canada French is the second language, but when you look at the population of Canada, how many people of fucking Canada really do speak French? I'll be honest. I think a lot more people speak fucking Chinese, Mandarin, or now variations of fucking Indian, Hindu, Sikh. That's just the way it is. So for Canada having and I get it because again, Canadian history and heritage includes French. But I don't know, like Quebec obviously is the epicenter of French, obviously. There are pockets throughout Canada, Sudbury in Ontario. New Brunswick has a huge French immersion, and sparsely throughout Canada. There are places that are French, but I mean, for the most part, when you look at the shift in the population here in Canada now, and there's been a huge shift, especially the last 5 years. That has changed, Tom. Let me tell you, that has changed. Because there's a large, I would say there's probably a larger Indian population now presence in Canada. And I think that's a due part to the fact that, when you look at the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth countries, India being one of them, they have free reign of immigration. Really. So during the vid, there was a the floodgates were open because they were having shortages on long haul truck drivers, service employees, like i.e. Tim Hortons, which is Tim Hortons is totally different now. Totally different. Totally different. It's what Tim Hortons used to be, the local go-to place for your coffee and donuts. Now it's totally different. Totally. Totally. It is. I know Chinese immigrants were probably about third. I won't no, not third. But let me just see here. They were close. Let's see the consensus. Demographics. Okay. This is as of 2021 consensus. Okay. So the population groups here, and they don't really. Yeah, holy shit. So, okay. So quite literally 24 million, because we're looking at 40 million now, roughly. And this was before the floodgates were open, but here you go. So ethnic groups, 24 million of those were white. So we're looking at English, Scottish, Irish, um, French, uh, German, Ukrainian, Polish, and so on and so on, right? And that's not to say, black as well. Uh, so not a visible minority, and 6% of that was indigenous. So we're looking at about 2 million, almost 2.2 million are indigenous. So native to the country before the European settlements. Visible minorities now are about 26.6% of the population. And the largest group of those, which is 7.1%, is South Asian. So breaking it down, South Asian is quite literally Indian, Pakistani, and then after that is Chinese, which is 1.7 million or 4.7%. Black being 1.5, 4.3. Filipino, which has a very large presence here in Canada, which is almost a billion. Arab, so Middle Eastern, Latin American, South Asian, West Asian, Korean, and Japanese. And then, you know, zero point 0.9 are multiple visible minorities. But there you go. I mean, the large, and that is like drastically increased since this was 2002, right? Or sorry, 2001 consensus. So if you were to do, let's see, I don't think there's an even. I don't think there's more. Hold on. Let's see. 2024 Canadian. I don't think there's one. Oh, maybe so. Okay, here we go. No. So these are indicators. That's the last one was 2021. The floodgates were open in roughly the last 2 years. Yeah, but there you go. You've got an idea. It's crazy. Kentucky, like Virginia, is a commonwealth. There's nothing common about it. We are taxed to death. Yeah, you know what, Tom? Barry, you're absolutely right. We're taxed to death here. Like the taxes here are ridiculous. Uh, I'm just reading the chat. Yeah, holy shit. Britain has the population of 70 million now, eh? That's crazy. Are you guys afraid to click the link? Come on, guys, click the link. Some Yanks think London is a country. I know. Uh, is there like a self destruction button there that you don't want to click the link? Self destruct. Yeah, that's insane. And you know, like a lot of countries, they're going through their issues. The UK is no different. I'm finding when you look at Canada, the UK, and Australia, when you look at those three countries, they're going through the same issues in terms of immigration, the jobs, and so on and so on, going through the same issues. Maybe at different, like different sort of aspects. For the most part, they're the same issues. I would probably. Yeah, I'm probably going to end this anyways, Steven. I was kind of debating on coming on this afternoon, but I figured, wait, why not? I had some time. Like I said, it's just insanely humid out today. Very hot. 41 Celsius. Don't actually have. What? You don't have a like button? There's nothing to like, anyways, right, Tom? Let's see. Well, you know what? I might as well get it out anyways. Hey, Louise, how are you? Good to see you. So, Sunday, September 7th, the new season starts up 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 a.m. UK time. Our first guest kicking off the 18th season. It's like, holy fuck. Wow. Strange. But anyways, the 18th season. Yeah, exactly, Tim. uh, we're gonna kick it off with director Dave McCrae is going to be popping by. He's got a new project on the go, Port Robinson Road, which you know what? We did a documentary. Actually, he was the first guest ever here on the show back in 2008. Actually, the first official guest. The first official guest here on the show back in 2008. He had a documentary called Breathing Port Robinson, which I had the pleasure of being a part of. He interviewed me on the for the project, along with people like Ed, Lorraine Warren, and James Randi. James Randi. You remember the $1 million challenge? James Randi. Thanks, Tom. Uh, but the James Randi, the $1 million challenge, right? Sad. But anyways, he is doing a feature based on the experience he had when he was going to college. Rather intriguing experience about this old house on Port Robinson Road, which is located somewhere in the Niagara area of Ontario. And I've been waiting for this for quite a long time, but he is it, guys. Look, hold on, let me pull it up here. And once again, I will put his link out there because you know what, you guys have to check out his channel. And I always have fun trying to find it. Where the hell are you? There we go. All right, so here's Dave McCrae's official channel. He has he's also a huge fan of the Halloween series. He's a horror nut like me. But he goes even further. He's made some fan based movies on Halloween, Black Christmas, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. He's done some incredible work. He's also a voice actor, a well-known voice actor. Um, he will be on the show to get us updated on what's going on. because he's campaigning right now to get the funding for Port Robinson Road, which I'm really looking forward to. I fucking can't wait for that movie. And because, like I said, he dropped the vision years ago what he wanted to do with it. So it took him this long, but thankfully he's finally going. Uh, what's this? Will hangs out with welding actresses. Okay. uh, all right. There you go. But anyways, I did put it. Yeah, I put it. Check out his Facebook. He has a show called Two Dudes. What is it? Two Dudes and some bullshit, and they talk about horror flicks. But he's been doing a lot of the stuff on his own. But he does the Two Dudes still. Notice he does his own stuff. McRae Live. Anyhow, he will be on the show. He's kicking off the new season 18 with us. Sunday, September 7th. Looking forward to having him on. And we're looking to go back to the basics with a lot of stuff. And you know what? A lot of people. I'm so sick of the crap out there with the paranormal shit out there. It's just like I have no point. I just have no desire to cover this shit because I don't. It's garbage. But there's one guy I like to have on the show that I really is kind of refreshing, and I like his sort of avenue. I like his approach, and that is Man versus Ghost. Jared, who is a part of that. I'm looking forward. We're gonna have him on the show too. Erie's Vault out of the UK. Great show. Check it out. Erie's Vault. Let me just post that out too. We are in the midst of setting something up with Erie's Vault. I had the pleasure of being on his show to tell him about my experience back in my cryptid experience back in 2003. Looking forward to having him on. He does a live show every Friday, I believe. And I think it's about 9 or 10. I think it starts around 9 or 10 p.m. UK time, Friday evenings. If you haven't subscribed to him, do subscribe to him. Really great show. Love his show. And I have to thank Frank Triggs for bringing that to light. I really enjoy his shows. Really, really good stuff. But looking forward to having him on. He will be on the regular time. The regular time, he's good with being on at 9 p.m. 2 a.m. his time. He's good with that, which is cool. So we look forward to having him on. Visit some of the UK. You know what? I really have to get out there. I really do. Beardo. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence about Beardo. Beardo and Mythos and the whole debunking community. Uh, I don't know. I think they're too aggressive. And to be honest, I like to know what their expertise and fucking debunking is. I'm as crucial with them as I would be with a lot of paranormal fucking shit out there. I mean, he's okay. Don't get me wrong, Tim. I do like him. I like him, but again, I portions. It's like him and Mythos and Side Eye Guy and Side Eye Guy. I believe is more extreme because he's not really. I don't think he really believes in the paranormal. Tom, yes, I would love to, and I think you mentioned you wouldn't mind doing that. I would absolutely love to do a live streaming here for the Urbageddon this year, and that's in October. I would love to do it. So if anybody would like to do the camera work, I would love to carry it here on the channel. Absolutely. I fucking what's Beardy all about? Beardo is all about the, calling out the paranormal fakers, if you will. And that's fine. I don't mind people debunking and but I just, you know what? I also look into their background. What gives them the right knowledge to sort of debunk? If I don't see anything substantial, I call them out too, because honestly, let's face it, they're just as bad as the fake, because they're calling out the fake, but they have nothing to back it with. Sounds good, Tom. Would love to. Would love to. Absolutely. It's cool that you're attending it. Have you been to the other ones? I can't remember. Have you been to some of the other Urbageddons? I can't remember if you were or not. But yeah, I would love to. We'll definitely carry, because I always, like I said, I would love to be there in person. I really would. Well, yeah, it's all about fucking monetization, right, Tim? Like, subscribes, and monetization. I sit there and go, well, maybe we should monetize too. But I don't know. It's getting down to it. It is a business. It's for entertainment purposes and so on and so on. But do we do it? I don't know. Do we get sucked into it? Who knows? We've been thinking about it with the upcoming season. I don't like asking people for money. I don't like it. Hate it. But you know what? On that note, we are changing our merch store, because I know a lot of people have been having issues with our merch store, including me. Um, it seems that the tariffs have really fucked up things with the merch store. So we are looking to switch to a new store, because I know people have been waiting a long time for stuff that they purchased. Somebody purchased a woodlot, a dark woodlot hoodie. I don't know if you guys, whoever purchased it, did you receive it? Let me know, because if you're still waiting for it, let me know, because I will get on them about it. But we're going to switch it over to a new merch store. That's a definite, I think. I shouldn't say I think, I know. Uh, but that's the thing. I don't like being like that. I don't. I prefer to be more grassroots, more true to the sense of things. I don't, and that's what Alex and I have always have been about with the show. I like Midwest Ghost Hunter. Hey, Tony, how are you? You like what makes you like Midwest Ghost Hunter? What is so great about Midwest Ghost Hunter? So, I don't like being all about the commercialism, and we've always been like that. So it's kind of harder for Alex and I to say, well, we're kind of giving in to it all, you know. Like to be on the same sort of scenario as we've been forever. Should be a natural experience, not yeah, yeah, exactly, Tom. Exactly. All right. So anyways, I think that's about it, guys. That's it. Thank you for popping in. It is good entertainment. Well, yeah, as long as it's entertainment, right? There's a lot of good entertainment when it comes to the paranormal out there, especially on YouTube. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you all for popping in. Um, season 18 begins September 7th. The best time of the year, guys. So hopefully we see y'all out. I will probably pop in here again, I'm sure. Uh beforehand. You guys are kick ass, and I want to thank y'all. Until the next time, take care, everyone. Be well, and we'll see y'all later. Later.